or one of the last stories that we covered this week has to do with California. Obviously, we covered quite extensively the legal fight over their brew and response bill to restrict gun carry. It essentially made most of the state off limits to licensed gun carry. Well, that law has officially been blocked once more because a panel of appeals court judges removed the administrative stay that was placed on it and allowed the injunction that was initially issued. Sorry, this gets kind of confusing because of all these courts that are involved. Allowed that initial injunction from the district court level to take effect. So that law is blocked as of this moment.
Yes. So a district court judge, a federal judge, found the law was unconstitutional, blocked enforcement of it, basically across the board. The plaintiffs won on all their claims. And then there was an administrative stay put in place that sort of undid his entire ruling, which meant that the law could go into effect, because the initial injunction happened before this law was set to go into effect. Then the stay happened right before the law was set to go into effect. So it went into effect for about a week. And then now the stay has been completely dissolved. So the old ruling is back into effect, which means that the law cannot go into effect. So it gets kind of complicated to follow. And there's a lot of whiplash here. But the bottom line is that basically the restrictions that were in place before this law are still there. But the new ones, the vast majority of them are not being enforced at this moment. Now, that could all change depending on how these appeals go. And this one of the sort of difficulties with preliminary injunctions is that if they get reversed on appeal and you did the thing that was illegal under the law and the injunction protecting you gets taken away, they could, in theory, come after you. But I think that's more of a risk with something like a hardware ban than a carry ban, because you're just not going to, it's not likely they're going to come back after people down months and years from now and say, oh, you carried in that park during the injunction, so we're going to go after you for that because the injunction got taken away. But anyway, the bottom line, this was something we talked at length last week with Robert Leiter from George Mason University. It's one of his points that I think is interesting. But in practice right now, the law enforcement officials in California are barred from enforcing these new gun-free zones. So carry is effectively back because the gun-free zones were so broad that they kind of made it impossible to carry in a practical sense. Anyway, that's so a lot of whiplash going on in California, but right now things are back to the status quo of where they had been before this law was passed.